Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. My name is Kalisa, and together with my colleague Derek, we will be taking you through today's webinar. So let me just share my screen. So who are we? We at Billigence help transform the way you work with data. We help you become an empowered, self-service, data-driven business through providing consultancy, resources, and tools to help you achieve your goals. We work with clients all over the world, including Prague, Singapore, and of course, Sydney. We offer a number of services, and these are some of the services that we offer. This includes training, consulting, automation, and optimization, amongst other things. We've also developed Tableau extensions that you can check out from our website or from the official Tableau extensions gallery. So we are partners with Tableau, and for anyone who doesn't yet know, Tableau is a data visualization software. For the last few years, it's been one of the leading data visualization softwares. Tableau helps you see your data through letting you create stunning interactive dashboards that you can then share with others. There are three main products. There's Tableau Prep, there's Tableau Desktop, and there's Tableau Server. So Desktop is what you use to create your dashboards. Prep comes free with every license of Tableau Desktop, and you can use it to prepare your data. If it needs cleaning, joins, for example, you can use Prep to get it ready and then connect it to Tableau Desktop. And lastly, once you're done creating your dashboards, you can publish it on Tableau Server, where other people can go in and explore your dashboards and even leave each other comments regarding the data. So why do people use Tableau? These are some of the reasons. So Tableau basically lets you connect to multiple data sources. It gives you the flexibility of bringing all these data sources into one dashboard. And the process can also be automated, allowing for real-time dashboards that help you make data-driven decisions efficiently and without delay. There's also a really strong community base. If you want to troubleshoot issues or explore new ways of using Tableau, chances are someone out there has already tried the same, and it's easy to find resources online. And last but not least, it's really easy to use. You don't need any programming skills. All you have to do is drag and drop, and you can very quickly create easy-to-use functional dashboards. Tableau comes with several out-of-the-box visualizations, so you don't need to build the charts or graphs yourself, but you can just click on whichever one you want to use and you're done. And if you want to go beyond these out-of-the-box charts and do something more complex, Tableau allows for that too, and you can always reach out to us and we'd be happy to help. So we'll be going through some of these functionalities in today's webinar, exploring what's easy to do and what might be considered more advanced. And we'll show you a sales and social media dashboard to sort of explore these topics, so you can see how you can use Tableau to suit different business needs. And without further ado, I will hand over to Derek to talk about building Salesforce data.
Hi, everyone. I'm Derek. Thanks, Kalisa, for handing over. So what we'll be doing now is to go through a sales dashboard. So like what Kalisa just mentioned, we will be going through this sales dashboard, and we'll be showing you how the Tableau interface works, and then we'll be showing you an end-to-end from developing a worksheets and publishing them onto server. And then after that, Kalisa will be going through the social media campaign dashboard. So now let me share my screen before we hop into Tableau. So what you see here now is Tableau Desktop. So this is the interface that Tableau developers use to build visualizations before sharing them onto the server. So before we dive into how Tableau Desktop works and so on, we would like to show you how a completed product looks like. So what we have here is a sales dashboard built from mock Salesforce sales data. So if I were to go on full screen, what Tableau is able to do is create an interactive dashboard where we can create things like homepage with navigation buttons, so that when they log in to view the dashboard, they are able to click and move into the different pages of the dashboard. So this dashboard was created based on our experience with our customers. So this is our own interpretation of the dashboard, and we have used some techniques that we have worked with clients on. So some of these worksheets, they are not live data, but these are the visualizations that we have used during our consulting projects. So in this dashboard, what we aim to cover is a sales summary. So it's looking at the sales performance, and then we have an account manager summary. So we are breaking down the performance by the different account managers, and then we have the open pipeline, which are the leftover opportunities. So for those of you who are not as familiar with Salesforce data, what the data is more about is that we have opportunities in each record. Then each opportunity is tagged to an account or a client, and then these are tagged to different opportunity types and the products that are being sold. So firstly, let's jump onto the sales performance. So what you see here now is our sales summary tab, and what we have here on top are the big numbers, or what we call as big angry numbers. So these numbers are used to show like the top level numbers that management needs to see when we first look at the dashboard, so that we have a rough overview of what the data is showing. So over here, what we have is the revenue, and then we have our quota or target. And then on the bottom one, we have a percentage difference from the previous quarter. And in the current quarter, what is the percentage of target that has been fulfilled? And then down the row, what we have are the number of opportunities that have been closed and won, and then the opportunities left in the pipeline, and what's the dollar value amount left in the pipeline. So moving down this tab, we have this sales pipeline. So other than the sales being won or lost, we have 5 different stages in the sales cycle. So we are able to visualize by the length and the size of the chart to show what is the dollar value in each of the stages. On the right, we also have a sales trend. So this is a line chart where we show the different amount that has been closed across the different quarters, across time. So what we have is a total, and then we broke it down by the different opportunity types over here. So something else that Tableau has is that they do have inbuilt forecasting functionality. So if I toggle this to with forecast, what we're able to do is show a chart with forecast for the next couple of quarters based on historical data. So all these forecasting tools require no code as well, like Kalisa mentioned. So it's just a drag and drop of the forecasting function into the visuals itself. So moving on, what we have is our account manager tab. So what we have here is the different account managers and the amount of sales they have and what is their target. And then what we have over here is a lollipop chart, just to show how much percentage they are above or below their target. And on the right, we have the opportunities that have been won as a whole. So something else that Tableau is able to provide is this drill down functionality that we can create, so that this interactive feature. So what I mean is that let's say we're interested in Joe Ford's sales. So I can click on his name, and what happened is that the opportunities that has been closed will be filtered to only those that are closed by him. And if I would want to reset this view, I can just click on my escape button. Oops. And then this is what I have. So lastly, we also have an open pipeline. So what the open pipeline is are the opportunities that are left and has not been closed. So this is important, where if a business wants to see what else they need, how else they can win more opportunities and which opportunities to focus on based on the dollar value. So over here, what we have here is a highlight table. So these are broken down by each of the account managers and the different stages. And then there are bar charts on the right and on the bottom to show the summary across each account manager or across each stage. So this will be a chart that we will look at how to build within Tableau after this. And then on the right here, what we have is the top 10 open opportunities by account, by the opportunity size. So we are able to build in such functionalities where, let's say we want to filter down to a specific opportunity type, we are able to click on this, drop down and move along. So next, what we want to show is also this question mark info button. So these info buttons can be created by developers for the end users to see what each of the chart is about. So it's just putting simple text boxes with a simple explanation so that when end users are using the dashboard or first time users, they are able to go to each of the tab and create this sort of info button. So now I'll walk you through what the Tableau Desktop interface looks like. So currently what we just built it in was Tableau Desktop. So this is the rough view of the interface. So usually what we'll do is we'll connect to a data source. And then over here, as you can see, we have the Salesforce data. And then we have a quota data, which is the target values for each of the sales account managers. So as you can see, we have a list of different fields here. So as compared to the usual data we see in a tabular form where we have our headers on top, we are not able to, we don't really see the data in the grid form as we would in this form. And then we see that all these headers are actually brought over to the left column here. So what we do now is instead of bringing in the data, we just drag in the field names onto the canvas here to build our view. So just to show you how it works, let's say I would like to pull in the different account managers. I will look for the account managers field. So in this case, it will be owned by, and I will just drag it into the view and it will automatically populate the different account owners here. So these are called worksheets. So what we have built on is a worksheet. And then next, when we want to bring all the different worksheets onto a dashboard, what we can do is we can create a dashboard where instead of seeing the field names on the left column, what we see is the sheet names, and then we can drag the sheet names in. So this is what we'll be doing. And as now, what we will want to do is to duplicate the highlight table. So before we begin, so the first thing we have in this highlight table is this main portion. So this entire thing is actually made up of 4 different worksheets. So what we have here is a highlight table in the center, the bar charts on the right to sum up the total amount by for this account manager. And then on the bottom, we have one more sheet to sum up the stage. And then lastly, we have the numbers of the total of the stages. So firstly, what we would like to do is to create or replicate this sheet first. So firstly, what we want to do is bring in account manager like just now. So what we can do is we bring in the account managers to show us each of the rows. And then we also would like to see the different stages. So I'll bring stage and I'll drag it onto column. So just like that, we have this kind of like pivot table kind of view. And then we can see from here that we do not need to see what has been closed. So we are looking at open opportunities. So to remove this, we can just highlight them and right click and exclude. And just like that, we are able to filter them out already. So next, what we want to see is the dollar amount in each of the breakdown as well. So we go to amount and we just drag it onto text. So now we can see that we have the different amounts. Like for this, it will be the solution stage for David Ward. So now I would like to kind of sort them sort the account managers by the amount of the dollar amount they have in decreasing order. So what I can do is just right click here and I can click on sort. And then I can just select the field and click on descending. So with just a few clicks of a button, I am able to quickly sort my view into this format. So in this, what we have just sorted now was by dollar value. But in the case of stages, if we can see over here, the stages are in this order: discover, qualify, solution, commit, and decision. So what we can do over here is that we can just click and drag it to the front. So we have discover, qualify, solution. And then commit and decision. So I can also do this manual drag and drop if I have a specific order, and I even can set them in here as a default sort format. So once I bring it on, it will automatically be sorted just like that. So next, we would like to create this highlight effect as well. So to bring this highlight effect, we are coloring the boxes, the cells by the amount they had. So the higher the amount, the darker the color it will be. So what we can do now is also bring this sum amount onto color as well. And then we just have to change the different type of marks. So if you can see in this drop down, we have the different types of charts that Tableau has already provided out of the box. So once I changed it to square, what we have here is the base of the highlight table already. So something else Tableau has to offer is the versatility and the flexibility in terms of building its views. So to change a color scheme here, I will just click on color and edit. And what I have here are the different palettes that are already available. And if I would like to create custom color palettes, I can choose it myself. So in this case, I'll just be using gray. And this is what I have. And then if you can see, some of the numbers are quite blended in with the gray as well. So I can just go to the text label to edit the text mark, and I can just change the colors of it to be darker or white even. So now what we have here is the base of the highlight table where we have the main sheet over here. Next, what we would like to do is create the next three sheets, which are the bars on the right, on the bottom, and the total numbers at the bottom. So before I move on, I'll just rename this sheet so we can come back to it later. And then next, what we can do is just kind of duplicate this, and we can reuse this the fields that we have dragged on but as well. So if we can see here, we would still like to keep the account managers in the rows, but we would like to remove the stages as we are only summing the amounts by the account managers. So here I can just drag and take away stage, and then it will just do a total amount for each of the account managers. But in this case, I would like to see a bar chart, so I can just bring it over here. And I'll just change it to bar. So in this case, what we have done is we duplicated this sheet, so the sort order is still maintained, and we just need to change the mark to a bar chart, and then it's automatically done. So I've created my second visualization with just a few clicks. So before I move on, I'll just rename it as well. And then next, what we would like to create is the chart at the bottom. So same thing, I can do this duplication step again. And then what I would like to do now is that I would like to see the total of each stage rather than the account manager. So what I can do is just drag away the account manager, drag the amount to the rows, and then I switch it to a bar as well. So over here, I can see that my bars are in the inverted form. So it's actually starting from the top and moving downwards. So what I can do here is just right click my axis and I can just reverse it just like that. So this is what I have already. So with a few simple clicks, we have actually created 3 out of 4 of the worksheets in this chart. So lastly, what I need is the numbers for each of these stages without the bar. So actually, I can just duplicate this once again. And instead of having a bar, I'll just put them on numbers. And now what we have here is that we have each of the total amount in each of the stages. Now, what we can do is that we want to bring all these 4 different worksheets together, as we have mentioned earlier, and bring them onto a single dashboard. So I'll just create a new dashboard. And over here, what we have here is the blank canvas, but it's slightly different. So we no longer have the fields like we mentioned earlier. So not only the worksheets are customizable, dashboards are customizable as well. So we can click create the different sizes as well. And then what we can do now is we can bring on the different worksheets onto the dashboard. So Tableau provides this thing where they call it tout, where when we drag on a worksheet, it will automatically snap into place. And then we can use blank containers to kind of pad the different charts and so on. And then we also have the option to bring it in as a floating tile where we can decide each of the we can decide the pixel where the view starts and what is the exact size based on the pixels. So in this case of this example, what we will do is we'll keep them as floating. So what we have here is the main highlight table, and I will need to bring in the rest of the charts now. So next, I'll bring on the account owner's total bar. So over here, what I do not need is these names. So I can just right click and hide them, and then I can align the bars. And then next, I have the next set of bars. And then the last one is the summary numbers for each of the stages. Of course, now it looks slightly different from the N1, but there are still some formatting things that we can work with each of the worksheets. So if I were to right click in any of this worksheet, you'll see that there's a format button. So we can not only format like the view and the chart types, we can format things like the axis lines, if we want to show the different lines, whether it's dotted lines or dashed lines, and then we can color the lines based on what we need as well, and the thickness. So now what we also have on the finished product is that we also have this filter by opportunity type interaction. So we can also create this onto the 4 charts that we have. So to do this, what we can do is just head to any of the worksheets and then we bring in the type. But instead of dragging it on the view, there is this filter card over here, and that's where we'll be dragging it onto. So now what I'll do is I'll click on all and I'll press OK. And then I not only want this to apply to this worksheet, but I want to apply to these 4 worksheets. So what I can do is right click and I can apply it to selected worksheets, and I'll select these 4. And then back on the dashboard, I can just bring out the filter. Sorry. So I can go to filters and then I bring in the opportunity type. So I can change this filter. So currently it is a checkbox format. I can just click on the drop down and I can change it to a single value drop down. So what we have now is the same exact view where we have this drop down to filter all these charts all together. So lastly, now that we have built our dashboards and we are ready to share them with our the rest of the people in our organization, we can actually publish this onto the server. So how do we do that? So we just head to server and we can click on publish workbook. So when we click on publish workbook, this box will pop up. We can select where we would like to save it and what is the name of the dashboard, and then we can choose which of the worksheets or dashboard we would like to bring up and publish. And then what we can do now is click publish. So to save time in this demo, we have already done the publishing. And then once you have published, it will bring you onto this site in your web browser. So the server will be in the web browser where we can access it. And then this will be the dashboard that we have just published. So what we can do now is, as an end user, you can log in and to the server and view the different dashboard within your server. So the same interactivity will be brought up to the server as well. So we can go through the different dashboards. The same filtering interactivity is still there. And then the drop down will work as well. So if we will click on this drop down, it will still work. So what other features are there in the server that can help us to collaborate better? We also have things like we can download the dashboard if we wish to make some edits or some analysis on our own. We can share it with people. And then one of the coolest features, I think, is this comment feature. So what we can do here is we can use it like it's like social media kind of platform where we can tag people in our team, and then we can share this with them with a comment or even attach screenshots to it. So let's say I'm looking at the account managers and I'm seeing that let's say Joe Ford isn't doing as well. What I can do here is I can actually add this snapshot view where it's already filtered onto a comment. And let's say I would like to share this with Kalisa. I will just tag her and I'll just say, hey, look at this person's performance. And I can actually just post it, and this will, the server will actually send an email to Kalisa to let her know that I've included a comment in this dashboard, and she'll have a link to immediately check this out. Yeah, so with this, we have went through how the desktop interface look like. We have looked at how a sales dashboard can look like, and we have looked at how easy it is to collaborate on Tableau server. So now I'll pass the time back to Kalisa to go through the social media campaign dashboard.
Thanks, Derek. So now we'll be looking at a social media dashboard. Let me just share my screen. So this is a social media dashboard. It was built with mock data, dummy data. So it's not real data, but we can go through it, and I'll take you through some of the things that you can have on a dashboard like this. But first, let me just take you through what the data structure looks like. So this is the page where you can bring in your data sources. And in this case, our post data and our page data comes from different tables, and we've had to join them together here. And if you are extracting data from the official Facebook Graph API, you might have to do this as well. As of the date that this dashboard was built, although this is dummy data, the structure is similar to what you would find with the Facebook API data. Usually you'll get separate page and post tables that need to be brought together. So I've got a few fields here, some of which you can get from the Facebook API and some of which we've added. So things like followers, follower count, engagements, impressions, posts, you can get all of that from the API. Some of the things we've added is the website and resultant sales. If we look at the post data, There's post ID and URL, which you can get from the real API as well. Although bear in mind that the Facebook API is always changing and there's no guarantee that the data you get would be ready for visualization. So you would have to do a fair bit of cleaning for it to get to the stage where it might be ready to be used. But now that you know what the data looks like, let's go through the main dashboard. So a social media dashboard allows you to consolidate the data from all your social media sites. If you are a business with multiple sites, you'd want to consider having a dashboard like this to give you like a one-stop shop, or like one place where you can just look and immediately be able to see your social media performance for all these different sites. And in this dashboard, we've got 3 pages. What you're looking at is the overview page. There's also a content snapshot page, as well as a sales insight page, and we'll be going through each one. So on this overview page, we've stuck to Tableau's out-of-the-box charts. You can see that the visualizations are all clean, simple, and easy to understand. You've got your big numbers, such as new followers. You've got impressions, average engagement rate, click-through rate, resultant sales. And impressions just means the number of times your post has ended up on someone's feed, regardless of whether or not they clicked on it. Engagement refers to things like likes, clicks, comments. Click-through is when you have a link on your page, and let's say linking it to your company page, and then someone clicks on it and ends up on your company's site. And resultant sales is, let's say someone has ended up on your company's site. If they buy something on it, the sales from that user journey. So these arrows that you have here also show performance in comparison to last month. And down here, you've got a line graph and a bar graph to show the trend between the number of posts and number of engagements. So just by looking at this, it doesn't take long for the user to immediately see what's going on with your social media pages. And they can even further interact with this dashboard by choosing a date filter, as well as just by moving their mouse around. Every time they hover, this window pops up, and this is called a tooltip and appears by default for most visualizations in Tableau. So a clean, simple dashboard like this doesn't take long to make. Everything is out of the box. The interactive elements just occur by default, and you're not building anything custom, but it still provides the user with the ability to understand how you're measuring up against KPIs. But let's compare this to the second page. So this page has a lot more going on here, and it takes a little longer for the user to understand what they're looking at and how to use this dashboard. But that might be what you want for your user to go in and understand and explore. So first we have the categories on the left, from most popular to least popular. Then you have a heat map, and then a line graph. So the heat map tells you the day and the hour for each post and the engagement rate for each post. And then the line graph down here tells you the engagement for each category throughout the month. And these are dates. So this is the 2nd of December, this is the 30th. How has it been performing throughout the month? And then finally on the right, you've got a list of all the posts that you have posted this month. And you can see that there are instructions for each visualization. Click to filter, click to filter, click to see post. So the user journey would go something like this. Let's say you want to find out which posts did well this month and maybe get an idea of what to post next month and maybe what time or date that you want to post it. First, you might try to find out what topic might be popular. So let's say you are interested in Facebook. You can just click the filter here. We've got a month filter and a website filter. And then you see that you've posted one promotion this month, did well. You've also posted a lot of images and they've done quite well. So maybe you want to find out more. Maybe you want to post an image. So you click that and you can see that it has immediately filtered the other visualizations on this dashboard. And on the heat map, it tells you for each image that you posted, what was the engagement rate. So the darker squares tell you that comparatively, it had a high engagement rate. Like this one is 12.72%. If you look at this one, it's lighter. It was posted at 1 a.m. on a Friday. It has a 4.06% engagement rate. And down here, if you look at the line graph, you can see that images, have they been doing better over time? Have they been doing worse? Or whether there's no change? So you can find that out by looking here. So now that we have this information, maybe you want to find out about specific posts. What was the post that did the most poorly? Maybe you want to find out why. So let's click this And you can see that that has filtered these two. This tells you when it was posted, and this shows you the URL. So let's click on this. And this changes to show you what the post was. And this tells you what this post is. And Tableau does allow you to embed web pages inside the dashboard itself. And it doesn't have to be a post. You could embed the login page for Facebook so that someone can go in and actually interact with the post or post something. And you can see that when I entered into this page, the embedded web element actually changed to the URL that we had clicked on. So a dynamic URL like that, I will show you later on how to set something up. So you can see that a dashboard like this, while it might have simple visualizations, you can really customize the experience of the user and let them explore and figure out things with the data. It's a very different experience from the overview page. One might be for the user that wants quick answers to specific questions and key metrics, while the other one might be for a user that's more interested in going further into whys and hows and whats. So let's say you want to find out why a post did badly. You can find out whether it has to do with the day or time or whether it's because the category is just becoming less popular. And of course, you can have other fields instead of the ones here. For example, you can have hashtags. You can track how hashtags are doing through time. And if you have a team of writers controlling your content on social media sites, you can have their names here and which ones have the higher engagement rates. So you can see there's a lot of potential. And again, I will show you how to set this up later. For now, let's go to the third page. So the Sales Insight page is different from the other two because the visualizations are a lot more complex. They're not out of the box, and you would have to build them yourself. The one at the top is called a radial stacked bar chart, and the bottom one is a Sankey diagram. Both can be built on Tableau, but it requires time and effort. And just to walk you through how it works, the radial stacked bar chart represents monthly sales. You can see there's a filter here with a year, and each section represents a month out of the year. And each stacked bar, each shade of gray tells you which age group. And the size of the stacked bar tells you how much they spent during that month. The Sankey represents a customer drill down. So it tells you how many of your customers came from which site, the gender, age group, country, and how much they spent. So because these visualizations are more complex, the dashboard action that we have here is just a hover action. All the user has to do is move their mouse around without clicking, and they can get more information about the chart, making these charts a lot easier to understand. And these are just some of the different types of dashboard actions that you can use in your dashboard. So this wraps up our discussion on the social media dashboard. Let me just take you a quick walkthrough on how to create the kind of user journey that you saw on the content page. So I'll show you how to set up a dashboard where you might have a visualization such as a table, like this table of categories, that filters another visualization, like for example, this table of posts, and then how clicking a visualization might change the URL in an embedded web page. So in order to create something like that, we would first need to create the visualization. So what I'll do is that I'll create this list of categories and this list of posts, and then we'll create the web page, and I'll show you how we can use them to interact with each other. So first, let's create this list of categories. We need to bring in the data that we require. So the first one will be category. Bring it into text. Since we're using text, we need number of posts, as well as the engagement rate, because we were sorting it on which ones had the highest engagement rate. Let's bring that in. Change that to average. We can format it to look a little more like what we have here. And Tableau does allow you to customize how even the text looks like. So we can open this up. We can make categories stand out more, make it easier for the user to read. We can also add whatever text we like to add context and make it more understandable for whoever's looking at this data. So next to count of posts, I will write posts. And next to this, I will write average engagement. Great. Okay, and that looks a lot more like what we have here. So I'll call this list of categories. So now let's create the list of posts, and same thing, we'll bring in what we need. We'll call it list of posts, and that's all you need, the 2 visualizations. So now we can get started on creating the dashboard. So let's create a new dashboard, and we'll bring in these 2 worksheets. So you saw Derek bring in the worksheets and they immediately automatically tiled, and you saw him use floating as well, where you can customize the size of each worksheet. What I'll do is use a combination of both. I'll use a floating container because this will make it easier for me to format it later on. I'll bring in the list of categories as well as the list of posts. And if I click the container and select distribute contents evenly, it immediately makes it the same width. Let's hide this. And if I want to change the size of both posts, I can do it together. That makes it a lot easier. So now we'll bring in the web element here. So Tableau allows you to embed any web page you like. You can embed a Wikipedia article, you can embed a Google Drive document, you can embed anything at all. And like I said, even the login page for your different sites so that someone can go in and create the page inside the post, inside the dashboard itself. For now, I will put it on Google, and then I'll show you how to customize this web element so that it changes depending on what you click here. So in order to make this embedded URL dynamic instead of static, to allow your user to change it, we need to sheet, and we will create a parameter. Let's call it the URL parameter or dynamic URL parameter. It's a string list, and then we can add the values from your data. So these are the URLs, all the URLs that are present in your data for all the posts. So let's just click OK. Oops, OK. 2. OK, and you've created your parameter. So now what we want to do is change this to the parameter. So now we've set up everything that we need, but you'll notice that if I click on it, nothing happens. This doesn't change anything else on the dashboard. So the last step is to add some dashboard actions. If you go into dashboard and click actions, this panel allows you to control how the different objects on your dashboard interact with each other. And there are a few different types of dashboard actions. There's a filter action. There's a highlight action, which is what you saw on the Sales Insight page. There's go to URL, which means that if someone clicks something on your dashboard, it will take them to an external browser. There's go to sheet, which allows you to switch between different sheets inside your dashboard, like a navigation button. And then there's change parameter and change set values. So what we'll be using in this example is a filter, because I'm trying to show you how you can use one table to change another table. So we want list of categories. Upon selecting something in it, to filter the list of posts. And clearing the selection, we wanted to show all values, which is what it was to begin with. So click OK. Now we'll create a change parameter action. We want the list of posts, clicking any of the URLs, to change what we see in the web element. So we click list of posts, select parameter, the parameter that we created, and then the field would be the URL. So we go OK. OK, and we can test this out. If I click article, it's article. If I click image, it changes it to image. And if I click the post itself, it should change this so that you can see it. And with a little bit of formatting, you can make it look You can change the size of the web element. You can change the size of the tables to make it suit your purposes. So that wraps up this discussion on how to embed URLs inside a social media dashboard. And you can imagine the potential of what you can do when you keep everything inside the dashboard and your user can interact with it. And so just to let you know, both my dashboard and Derek's dashboard that we went through today are both available on our Tableau Public. So you can feel free to go in and check this out yourself. We've got a few other dashboards there as well. So do check that out. And if you have any other queries or you want to reach out, our website is billigence.com. And we'll be happy to hear from you. So that wraps up the webinar. Thanks for joining us today, and let's go to Q&A. So we've got a question here on the sales dashboard. How long does it typically take to build these from scratch if the right data is available? And can you do something similar for FinOps?
Thanks, Lauren, for your question. So for this sales dashboard, I think it took a couple of days to build it because we wanted to come up with a use case and we wanted to showcase like the interactivity and the features of it. So such as like navigation, creating an info, and creating some sort of views that are not difficult to build, but it's actually very informative. So that took maybe a couple of days to build it, and definitely I think for FinOps it's actually possible to build. So definitely with the right data, it is definitely easy to build. But something to take note of is that when we build dashboards, we are also interested in what kind of business questions are there. We don't like just build it just to make it look visually attractive. I think the key use of Tableau is really to answer business questions in the fastest and most efficient way possible. Yeah, and we have a question about creating the landing page. So so the landing page, as you can see in the sales dashboard earlier, is quite easy to build. So basically, if we were to create a dashboard, maybe I can just quickly share my screen here. In a dashboard, I can just click on this navigation button and drag it anywhere on the dashboard. I can either put an image or I can just put it as a text button, and I can select which one I want it to navigate to. So in this case, if I want it to navigate it to dashboard 5, I can just click on this and click OK. And with this, I've already created that navigation, and then the rest is mostly formatting.
We have a question on why we use floating instead of containers. Good question. It's because we get more customizability with floating. You can really change the size and make sure that different parts of the worksheets line up so you can create more complex charts and graphs, like Derek demonstrated during his part of the webinar. Any other questions? There's one from Sai. How does your typical client engagement look like? That's another really good question. So usually it will start with some kind of requirements gathering. We want to find out what your needs are, what you want to achieve. We might hold workshops for your stakeholders, just for us to really understand you more. Then we might go into wireframes, get your feedback, see whether that's what you need, and then go into prototypes, testing, production, if that makes sense. Derek, anything to add there? Or does that about cover it?
Yeah, I think that covers it. We do have a question from Kanika. So thanks for the question. Do we have a sample dashboard for data quality KPIs? As of now, we do not, but I think down the line, we are still looking at making more dashboards, sample dashboards for our Tableau Public page. So I think that's a good sample dashboard to have, and we'll definitely keep this in mind and build this in the future. But in our client engagement work, we have actually worked with data quality KPIs as well. So we have actually built dashboards for people to monitor like their data quality before. Yeah.
I think that's about all of the questions. I'm not sure if I missed anything. Yeah, I think that just about wraps it up. If anyone else has any further questions. Otherwise, thanks so much for joining us today. And hope you have a great rest of the week.